Hey everyone, Mark and Joey back here on a Tuesday morning. Beautiful day here in Ontario. And I hope it is for you guys as well. And we're going to be doing an NFL show. And not that it's nice. I mean, the NBA and NHL was super exciting. Great finishes with two teams that had never won championships before winning a championship.
That's right, yeah.
So we're not going to complain about that run.
Made some money on that one.
But guess what? Our favorite sport, funny enough, even though we love hockey, our number one sport's the NFL.
Yeah,
and we love it. And they're in camp, and it's fantastic. And so I'm going to mention one thing. Unless you heard early shows, we actually lived in Seattle for a while. Even though we're Canadians, I had a job down there. And so the Seahawks became our true NFL home team. We didn't have to fake it anymore, having never been anywhere. We were in Seattle.
We didn't really have a team before that, right?
I had the Cowboys from being a kid because of the cheerleaders.
The
That's all it was. I didn't really care about the football team, but when you're a teenager, it was the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders that made you a fan. Anyway, we actually have a legit NFL team now, which is the Seahawks. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take each of the NFL teams over the next little while, break down what's happening with the team, talk about the things that we're looking for. And of course, we're going to start with the Seahawks because they're our team. However, I just want to mention one of the funniest things in camp, and it's with New England. It's just a quick story. I know you might have seen it, but some reporter was interviewing Belichick, I think second day at camp or something, said, "So how does Tom look out there?" And Belichick goes, "I have 90 players on the field. I have no idea how he looked." And I just thought that's so Belichick to say, it's Tom Brady. It's no big deal. He's one man. It's just his way of not making it a big deal.
Yeah.
I thought it was a hilarious comment.
I tell you one thing though, he does look good. He looks a little bit stronger this year.
Yeah.
I think
you got to prep more when you're as old as him, right? So
he's putting some muscle, you know.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Seahawks. We're super excited about one thing. We're still not happy about the Russell Wilson contract. We're not going to spend a bunch of time here. We did 2 long videos on that contract, and we weren't happy about it. Not that we don't like Russell. We just don't think he's worth the money. Anyway, go back and check on our NFL shows. You'll find the one with 2 with Russell there as we talked about that. One thing we are really happy about, and again, you'll see that in our videos, some of the earlier videos, is the fact that Lockett is finally going to become the main target. We have been harping 3 years on this.
Yeah, so I mean, I heard the other day at a camp that they're talking, well, expect Lockett to be our number 1 receiver this year. It's like, thank you, because we've only told you a gazillion times that it should be your number 1 receiver. He's the fastest guy on that field, and he's the fastest guy in your receiving core, and he's always open. It drives us nuts that they're just realizing this now. It took Doug Baldwin virtually to retire. I know he released him, and then he retired, but they did his physical, and his physical said, like, you're done. Yeah. So, I don't blame it on the team, but it took him retiring for finally Wilson to be like, yeah, well, Lockett should be my guy. He is phenomenal. He's always open. One-on-one coverage. I'm throwing it to Lockett. I do cross routes all day because no one keep up with him the way defenses play these days. I don't understand why it took this long, but finally, we're getting our wish. Lockett's going to see more targets.
That's going to be unbelievable. And the good thing is that even if he's running those crossing patterns and teams figure out ways to get in the way, they're leaving someone else open. So Lockett has to be the target. You have to tell teams he's going to be the target. Right. I don't even mind defenses trying to focus on him because it's like every other star player. Once they focus, somebody else is open. But Lockett, we've seen so many times he's wide open, and Wilson would look for Baldwin to the last second, and this is why we had so many sacks. He would not get off of Baldwin. He just threw the ball to him all the time. We're thrilled that Lockett is going to be what he's going to be.
And let this transition to the new receiver we got, DK Metcalf, who was actually quite the stud at the NFL Combine, made quite the story. For being super jacked. He is a monster, and actually showed up to meet Pete Carroll shirtless, so Pete Carroll took his shirt off. And I gotta say, for a 65-year-old man, he's pretty jacked himself, but this guy made news when they found photos of him working out, and he is a monster. Super fast, great receiver, hopefully. Obviously 4th-round pick, so it's not like he was like Randy Moss coming out of school, but lots of potential there. And with the Lockett thing, like you said, now you tell teams Lockett's our guy. They're going to focus on because they know he's dangerous. This could open up room for him to be quite the receiver. I like him in the trenches. On the in routes, the check down guy. He could be that ball and roll. I hope he's not the first look, but he could be that roll. And then he can even go down the sidelines, let's be honest. And when you have that strength, if you can be fast enough, you can easily, kind of box out your defender in order to make catches. And I think he's going to do a great job. He's also going to do what's important for the Seahawks, which they did last year, is block for that running game. And, it's really setting up, I think, for actually a surprisingly really good season for the Seattle Seahawks, I don't think the LA Rams are going to be full strength. Todd Gurley still has all these problems with his knees. They're losing players. The Rams are. They kind of went all in on
we
a couple
saw that
players.
they could be shut down by a good defense.
Right.
And that's the one thing Seattle's got. I got to give them credit.
Young defense last year.
I mean, I am not a Pete Carroll fan, but one thing the guy knows how to run is defense. And they replaced, the Legion of Doom, the guys that, were like almost unreplaceable in other people's minds. He did that. They had a pretty good defense last year. They got better throughout the year.
It was very young still.
If we can avoid losing 2 of the first 3 games, which we seem to do every freaking season, then we're going to be an easy playoff, team in there. And as we saw, the Rams can be shut down by a good defense. And they were so explosive last year. Teams are going to be focusing on that. And I think Seattle can actually... We were only 3-point deficit both games we lost them, I think it was.
Yeah, exactly. Combined total of 6 points, and that's with them having Todd Gurley that we could not stop.
Yeah.
I'd say there's a couple keys for Seattle. One is, first of all, real quick, we should have probably beat Dallas, too, if Pete Carroll knows how to run the offense.
Oh, my God.
I'll give him credit on the defense side, but all he had to do was let Russell Wilson throw the ball a little bit, and we beat Dallas, and next thing you know, we're in the second round of the playoffs. You're going into this year with a lot of different attitude.
Hey, we just spent $30 million. I think he's going to throw the ball a bit more.
So here's a couple keys for Seattle. First of all, I think San Francisco's overhyped.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't believe they're the real threat. So really, the threat in your division isn't Arizona. It isn't San Francisco. It's still the Rams, but they're banged up. Todd Gurley, I don't know how he's going to be. They have no backups. The Rams have no depth, which is what their problem was last year, right? It was all superstars, and those superstars, a couple of them left on the defensive end. So here's the keys, really, like you said. Start well, target Lockett. If not, go get this DK guy involved. He's a beast. He was one of your picks. Get him involved and run the ball, but only on a more inconsistent basis, and so that way they can't build up defenses just to block your run.
Yeah.
You can't run it 3 times every freaking down. Every time you have the ball,
that's why Wilson, to give him
you got to throw the ball.
To give Wilson a break, they ran the ball first 2 downs every single time. So now he's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5. They know we're throwing, and then they just bring everybody. So, you
gotta switch it up.
Wilson's got to stay in the pocket. The problem is how small he is, which is one of the issues we have, that when he's in the pocket, I actually don't think he can see over the offensive line. He starts to move. So they're going to have to build the defense, offense around the fact he's going to move. He moves not because he's in trouble. He moves because he needs sight lines.
Right. But you gotta, if you're Wilson, you gotta trust your receivers this year. You got a good bunch of receivers. You still got your good running backs. They haven't left yet.
Yeah.
One of them's a good passing running back in Rashard Penny. I just think on offensive end, you got to switch it up a little bit. I think that's a key. The defense is getting better. They're still cheap. They're still young. So they're getting better. So on the defensive side, we look good. Offensive side, we look good. What's going to come down to now is a little bit of coaching. One is, like you said, we got to start better, and that's because he doesn't play our guys in the preseason.
Yeah.
I understand that's avoid injury,
take the risk.
but you got to win games. You lost to Denver in the first game of the season.
Year.
Blah, blah. You got to beat the Rams at least once this year, obviously, to win your division, because if you lose both to Rams, unlikely you're going to win your division and lose both games to the Rams. So a couple of keys for Seattle, but at the end of the day, they actually have quite the chance to go for a run here. I think a playoff spot's very likely. A division win is very possible, which gets you 1 home game. I'd like to see them be even better than that and get 2 home games. Right now
because they're so good
in the NFC, there's not a ton of juggernaut teams in the NFC. Honestly, most of the juggernauts are all in the AFC this time of year.
I'm going to solve all their problems. Wilson takes a snap, draws back 2 steps, throws as far as he can. Lockett will run under it and get the ball. Quit waiting to find out if he's open. Just throw the goddamn thing to the guy. He outruns everybody on the field, and that solves Wilson's problems because he can't see over the line anyway.
Definitely.
So throw up a rocket and let Lockett go and chase the ball down. Anyway, it's obviously not going to be that simple. But
last thing for the Seahawks, find a field goal kicker, please.
No kidding. Oh, my God.
Honestly, we want to talk about our struggles. If we had a good field goal kicker the last 3 years, we might have made a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's a key too.
But you know what's funny? There's so few of those guys around for some weird reason. We talked about it on our CFL show. They should reach into the CFL for a kicker. The kickers in CFL have been always pretty good and have transitioned
they
really
learned
well
how to
in the
kick a
NFL.
bigger ball too. And the guy on the Dallas Cowboys just got a good contract and kicking a mile because he's been kicking a bigger ball. He comes to the NFL, looks at that little tiny thing and just boots it.
Yeah.
So maybe something to look at.
We're all excited about the Seahawks. Everything's looking good that way. We're expecting a playoff team and maybe even a champion this year on their division, whether they win the Super Bowl. You got to stop Tom Brady, but we are expecting great things from Seattle this year. So there we are. We spent the money. We weren't happy with the contract, but since we have spent the money, seems like they're going to have a great season.
And the money
anyway.
works because of a young defense who's not getting paid a lot. You got young receivers who aren't getting paid a lot. So the money works with Wilson. The biggest thing, too, is the salary cap's going out, so we'll monitor that as we go forward.
Yeah, exactly. So there you